Welcome to The Explainer. You know, when we're facing a crisis, we tend to look for answers in all the modern places psychology, philosophy, self help books. But what if a complete guide to handling just about any human challenge already exists, tucked away in an ancient epic? Today, we're diving into the many teachings of Krishna from the Mahabharata, which is basically a spiritual toolkit for life. Okay, let's just jump right in. Because, when most of us think of Krishna, our minds go straight to the Bhagavad Gita, right? That incredible conversation he has with the warrior Arjuna on the battlefield. But here's the thing that kind of blew my mind. That's just one tiny piece of the puzzle. It's just one of his many voices in a story that is so much bigger. So in this explainer, we're going to uncover 5 totally distinct roles that Krishna played. And each one reveals a different side of his wisdom perfectly tailored for a specific crisis, from paralyzing self-doubt all the way to the brink of political collapse. We're going to start with the one we all know, his role as the supreme teacher. This is where it all happens, right on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the setting for the Bhagavad Gita. The hero Arjuna is just completely frozen, facing this huge moral dilemma. And Krishna has to step in and address this profound crisis of faith and action. So what's the very first thing Krishna teaches? The one lesson that's designed to cut right to the root of all our fear. He says the soul, the Atman, doesn't die. It's eternal. Thinkers like the great philosopher Shankara later pointed out that truly, deeply getting this concept is the key to being free from fear and grief. It changes everything. Now, what's really fascinating to me here is that Krishna doesn't just say, here's the one way to do it. Not at all. He actually lays out and harmonizes 3 completely different spiritual paths, or yogas. So whether you're wired for selfless action, the deep pursuit of knowledge, or just pure simple devotion, there's a path for you. He makes liberation accessible to everyone. And then, after explaining all these different options, Krishna delivers his final and maybe most crucial piece of advice. He wraps it all up with this incredibly powerful call for complete surrender. This quote, this is often seen as the absolute essence of the Gita, the idea that the highest path of all is just to trust and take refuge in the divine. But Krishna's wisdom isn't just for the soul, it's very much for the world of politics and power. We see this as he shifts roles, stepping off the battlefield and into the halls of power. Not just as a philosopher, but as a real, hands-on diplomat and guide. Before the war even starts, Krishna goes on a peace mission, and he lays out a very clear, very stark choice for the Kaurava court. He basically tells their king, look, if you cling to greed and injustice, it's going to blind you, and it will absolutely lead to the ruin of your entire kingdom, your whole family. So then, fast forward. The devastating war is over. And now he has to guide the new king, a totally grief-stricken Yudhishthira, who just wants to walk away from it all. And this is where Krishna teaches him that real leadership isn't a privilege, it's not a perk. He says it's a burden of service to the people, one that has to be carried with compassion and total self-control. And this, right here, this is a timeless political idea. I mean, centuries and centuries later, Mahatma Gandhi would look at this very teaching and call it the principle of trusteeship. The idea that leaders aren't owners of power, they're just caretakers, and they're ultimately responsible for everyone's well-being. Okay, so from the world of politics, Krishna now pivots inward. He takes on this more subtle role as a spiritual interpreter. And what he does here is challenge the whole idea of grand external ceremonies. He shifts the focus to what's going on inside, to the intention behind the ritual. We really see this play out when King Yudhishthira performs the Ashvamedhika. This was the biggest, most elaborate royal sacrifice you could possibly do, and he does it to atone for all the bloodshed of the war. On the surface, it's this huge public display of power and piety. But Krishna completely reframes the whole thing. He makes it clear that the spirit behind the sacrifice is way more important than the ritual itself. He's teaching that all the outer religion in the world is empty if there's no inner sincerity. It's the devotion in your heart, not how big the offering is, that actually matters. Now, we get to his final, and I think maybe his most challenging role, the detached witness. Here, Krishna has to confront the fact that everything in the world decays, that power doesn't last, and that destiny is inescapable, even when it comes for his own family. So he literally stands by and watches as his own people, the super powerful Yadava clan, get consumed by a curse and just destroy themselves in a drunken, fratricidal brawl. It's shocking, and what's more shocking is that he doesn't step in. He makes it clear that destiny and the consequences of karma, they're inescapable for everybody, even for those loved by God. His calm acceptance in the face of this absolute catastrophe is probably the ultimate lesson on impermanence you could ever get. It's this stark, powerful demonstration that even the greatest dynasties will fall, and all worldly power sooner or later just fades away. In this moment, Krishna is the perfect embodiment of his own teaching from the Gita. This is samatva, or equanimity. It's that yogic practice of staying perfectly detached and keeping your inner peace even when there's total chaos and profound personal loss all around you. So, okay, we've seen Krishna as the teacher, the diplomat, the witness. We've heard all these different voices speaking to all these different crises. So what's the one unifying message that pulls it all together when you listen to them all at once? Let's do a quick recap of these personas. We had the supreme teacher giving eternal truths for a crisis of faith. We had the diplomat and guide giving counsel on leadership during a political crisis. And we had the interpreter and the witness, teaching us how to face ritual and destiny. Each role was a specific, practical answer to a real human problem. And here's the really cool part. When you weave all of that together, you see this incredibly consistent message. It's not a bunch of separate lessons. It's a single, holistic guide for living a meaningful life. It's all there. Act with integrity. Live with compassion. Value sincerity over ceremony. Accept what you can't change. And ultimately, trust in a reality that's bigger than yourself. The teacher, the diplomat, the guide, the witness. What's so clear is that Krishna's wisdom was never just some abstract philosophy. It was a practical response to the real-world challenges people were facing. And that really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Which of these ancient voices, which of these timeless roles, speaks most directly to the crises we're all facing in our world today?